Welcome to Reuters Events Pharma USA 2025. With me today I have Subhro Mallik, Executive Vice President and Global Head of Life Sciences at Infosys. Subhro, welcome.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you for having me on the show.
Great. Let's just dive in and talk about generative AI and writing at Infosys. This is a new thing that's been developing. Can you elaborate on how it's going to assist drug development?
So, Jonathan, any conversation today without GenAI doesn't even get started with most of our clients. If I look at it broadly from a client perspective, they are investing hugely into GenAI, and we as a partner with most of these clients have also been investing on our own into the GenAI and see how we can apply more broadly to the life sciences businesses we do. When you look at specifically one of the areas that we are now targeting is medical writing. That's a huge area. There are a lot of documents that the clients need to go through. It's intensely manual, and you have a whole bunch of people trying to run through all the documents to create a document which then gets submitted to the FDA. What we have been able to achieve using GenAI is to bring together all the documents together, look at the kind of documentation we need to create from a summary patient report, from a patient safety reports, and then give it back to the client so that then they have to spend minimal amount of effort to kind of get the documents ready for submission. Today, this solution that we have built on GenAI has been deployed with one of our very large clients. I'm very happy to say that they have achieved about 90% plus accuracy in the documents that get created from our platform, which is amazing, right? If you think of it, 90% accuracy, the amount of effort that was going away can now be repurposed into something more meaningful. Obviously, these are learning systems. So initially, we didn't start with 90, started with possibly 70, 80. And then as the AI learned more and more about the work it has to do, it's now achieved about a 90% plus kind of an accuracy. We don't think that it will ever be at 100%. We'll always need the last level of human intervention to make sure that the right document is being submitted. So we are very excited about the potential here and what we have already accomplished with our clients, and we believe this gives us a platform to continue to expand our investments into GenAI as it applies to various parts of the life sciences business.
Fantastic, fascinating. Staying with digital, with the growing emphasis on patient-centric business models, how has Infosys leveraged digital technologies to enhance patient engagement?
So the first question we talked about was more on the actual finding a new medicine and how we are innovating there. Then we obviously started thinking about what we can do with the world of patients. And getting closer to the patient is an aspiration that all pharma clients have, right? And this new technology, digital technologies that are out there does provide us with that platform. So in the case of patient care, and like Jonathan, you are wearing, I am wearing, we have all these digital equipments on our hands, and they are continuously pulling data from each one of us. So that gives us a good way to look at a patient themselves. So what we have done with one of our clients, we have focused on a type 2 diabetes that the patient may have, and they have an instrument which goes along with it, which is your constant insulin pump. And we are pulling the data from the insulin pump, and we are pulling the data from all the digital biomarkers that we are wearing, and then making a comprehensive view of the patient as we look at them. So as an example, it will give various prompts to the patient. It will either say you're not exercising enough, your insulin levels are up, or your heartbeat is up. And so they can take certain measures on their own to, first of all, live a much healthier lifestyle. The second is the data is then sent back to the physicians, who then can look at the data and have much better, deeper insights into the patient themselves, not just in terms of, the one-off, maybe the blood test you have done, but looking at the patient as a whole, right? What is the person eating? How much is the person walking? Is the lifestyle good enough to help you get better? So I think we have been able to take these digital technologies and bring the care much more closer to the patient, making it much more one-on-one, rather than having it spread across multiple patients. So we are on that journey. We do believe that in the future, not so far away, a lot of these activities that the patient needs to do, or the triggers that are there, may actually have an ability to do it automatically without any intervention from the physicians. And the recent developments that we've seen in GenAI and other technologies does give us hope that in the future, not only will we have information, but we will be able to take interventions based on the data we see, and it will all be automated.
Fascinating. Now, I just wanted to touch on a little bit of recent business history, looking at 23-24 for the whole of the pharma sector, very troubled by issues like late stage asset failure, inflationary pressures and things like that. Everyone was battling away with this. So just tell us how Infosys adapted its strategies to support clients in navigating these hurdles and capitalizing on emerging opportunities.
So I think, Jonathan, if you look at the industry at an overall level, they have been grappling with these two factors for a while now. Obviously, the new one that we see more and more is the inflationary pressures and the cost pressures that are coming up, and it is only getting accentuated based on the markets that's out there and the narrative that, the overall rise in healthcare costs, a lot of it, is looked at from a pharma angle, by saying they are the poster childs of greed and how much more the money they are making. So they have been, but I think in the last couple of years, as we look at the failure rate of the medicines that are there, it's becoming more and more prominent, and it's becoming a bigger challenge for the industry. So from our perspective, we break it up into two parts, right? One is we break it up from a cost management perspective, and the second is how can we help the customers from a top line or innovation perspective. On the cost part, I think we've been doing a lot, right? A lot of the investments that we have made in AI and automation and the platforms that we have created, we are working closer with the clients to see how they can reduce their ongoing operating costs, right? The more you can take out of the operating costs, the more you can invest into some of the transformational elements you need to get much more, I would say, efficient in a business process perspective. So from reducing the operating costs, obviously the AI, GenAI models that we talked about does help a lot. We are looking at new models of operations, which includes the full stack, starting from hardware, software to the cloud environment that you need, bundling it up together and driving a more end-to-end view of your cost, end-to-end view of your operations, which in turn helps you to reduce your cost on an ongoing basis. If you now switch over to the innovation side, which is, I think, where the real fun is, you want to be able to help customers innovate better. And we talked about the first question that you asked, Jonathan. It's a good one, right? We are helping them get better with the medical writing, which means they can submit faster, better, and write better documents. Possibly the quality is much better. But that's pretty late, in my opinion. We are also looking at how we can participate with clients on the core drug discovery itself. So we are working with a few clients, and we have also engaged with few research institutes to see how we can, for example, mine the historical data they have from clinical trials, from the research data, to see if there are new indications that can be found and hence become the new medicines of the future. So we are investing into those technologies, which are again enabled by AI technologies, which looks at patterns, which looks at patient data, and try to come up with new medication, which we hope in the future will enable our clients to find new medicine much more cheaply, and if required, fail faster. You can actually create data which, as you look in the clinical trials, they can look at the past data and say, hey, this medication, given the early indications that we have, it's going to fail. So we are also trying to enable the fail fast, fails cheap kind of a model, so that they don't go late stage and then you realize, okay, it doesn't work. Maybe there were indications in the past which we as human beings couldn't have seen it. The scientists might have missed it. But if you can get some technology in there, maybe it will throw up the indications much more prominently so that decisions can be made faster. So all in all, I think as a company, we have a comprehensive plan with our clients to attack the cost part, to attack the top line, and all of it being enabled through as much of technology as we can find to make sure our clients are much more efficient.
Fantastic answer. Now, we've been looking at what you've been doing recently. Now let's pivot now and look forward. Perhaps a crystal ball gazing time, the next 18 months, 2 years perhaps. What do you think are going to be the things that you'll be talking about in Pharma USA 2027?
Sure. I think we will be talking, if I look at 2027, which is not too far away, it's just 2 years out. I think we will see many more questions. Jonathan, I'm sure you and me will talk, will be about the kind of use cases we've already deployed with our clients with GenAI. I mean, that's going to happen. We are talking today of medical writing. Possibly you will have a bigger list to control and say, hey, we have so many use cases, can we just talk of 2? So I think that impact will become much bigger. We will also, I'm sure that as we look at 2077 and beyond, as we look at it, I think the biggest trend we see in the industry today is personalized medication. We talked about care, so we will see personalized care and personalized medication, where a medicine is made for you and made for me, depending on the way I am built, right? My DNA information being available. So we believe by 2030, you will start seeing medications which are built for people, And for that, the technology that will be there required, it will all be available. Today, we see a little bit of that with cell chain and immuno-oncology that's coming up in the cancer space.
Sure.
But it will become possibly a little bit more expanded, a lot more expanded as we have better access to technologies which enable us to do that. So I'm hoping that in 2027, we'll have a long talk on how much we have changed patient lives and how much we have helped the industry move forward. And 2030, who knows, maybe we will have medicines just for us.
I look forward to that. That's wonderful. I will make a note to ask you those questions. Subhro Mallik, EVP and Global Head of Life Sciences at Infosys. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Jonathan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.